I got the walk, there's a longboard walk. I know the talk, the longboard talk.
Hey, how's it going? Wherever you're joining us from around the world, welcome along to Oz Longboarding. I'm Weeksy in Western Australia, where we've finally got some big swells happening on the West Coast. Margaret River 2021 WSL surf event is in progress, and tonight we're here to talk about another very important worldwide event, the 2021 Noosa Festival of Surfing, with some special guests we'll introduce to you shortly. Beforehand, though, we'll do what we do and throw a lap around the coast and see what's been going on. Our girl in Noosa itself, Kira's running a little bit late. She's got things to do as per usual. She'll be with us a bit later on. So that brings us to the Gold Coast and the main man himself, Mr. Sean McEwen. How's things on the Goldie, mate?
Mate, couldn't be better. We've had pumping waves at Kira. Sort of solid 6 foot plus, barrels everywhere, boards breaking everywhere. It's been unreal. It's really a couple of good days. Before that, on the weekend, we had east southeast winds. They had the Gold Coast Pro on, or the Open, and that was it was junk surf. It was big. There was lots of current, but they managed to run both a male and female invitational longboarding division. It was quite interesting. It was a struggle out there, but in the end, in the men's, Harley Ingleby won it from Harrison Roach. And in the ladies, really tough final with one of the girls having to be rescued after a leg rope snapped, and the rescuer being young Emily Lethbridge, sacrificing a fair bit of her time to bring Luca in. But it was won by Sierra Learback, and she won it from our very own Kira Molnar.
Oh, there you go. Big number 2 for awesome. Kira.
Yeah, right. And like, it was testing conditions. The rip running past the point would have been anywhere between 8 and 10 knots at times. You know, like, there was no way your board was going to go on the rocks. It was just being swept down the beach that fast. So,
well, having been caught in that current myself, I know the pain. But skipping past our 2 special guests who are hanging out in Kingscliff, we'll get to them in just a minute, down to Crescent Head and our newest panel member. Welcome back to the show, Jodie Barsby. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Been good so far. The surf report here is that there's actually swell has pretty much increased and that a bit, so it's probably not as big as what the guys and that are getting up at the Goldie, but it's just a blessing in disguise that, you know, that we've finally got some waves. Hopefully, you know, the swell hangs around for this weekend. We've got a community event happening, which is called the Surf Rally. So basically, you know, with having all the local surfing, like, you know, on longboards, shortboards, retro, single fins, foils, stand-ups even, just being for the day event. So hopefully, we do have waves in that for the weekend.
Oh, unreal. Crescent's one of those special places when the swell lines up, everything else goes out the window, doesn't it? And yeah, you've had some good times up at Noosa as well. I know you've got a long, I remember some of my first memories at Noosa. You'd already been going for a while, so it'd be great to hear some of your stories from those years on tonight's show as well. And then moving a little bit further south from you, and I guess maybe a little bit less of that same swell system. Matty Cook, how's the surf been in Cronulla, champ?
Yeah, we've had beautiful weather down here, only small little waves, but perfect for the longboards, and lots of sunshine. We actually had a big protest down at Shell Harbour at the farm. They're trying to develop all that area. So I think it ended up, I don't know, but they broke the Guinness World Book of Records for the most people to paddle out and protest it. So they did a really good job down there. So hopefully everything goes to plan, and they've stopped the development down there. So
yeah, I've been keeping a bit of an eye on that. Something like 648 people or something paddled out. But what's your take on that? I saw an interesting comment that every other day of the week, if you arrive at the farm and you're not from the farm, you don't get the same loving welcome that you do if you're going to paddle out to protect the town, protect the break. Any comments on that?
Yeah, they do a pretty good job down there, but Actually, Shell Harbour in itself, I mean, the whole town has tripled in numbers in the past sort of 2-3 years, with a huge development going in there at Shell Cove. So houses are right up to a break called the Shallows there now, and they've got a Woolies in there and everything. So they're just, it's so many people living down there now. But everyone's getting out of Sydney and looking to find other places to live.
My initial reaction was the fact that even like in a town like mine, we're sometimes likewise not all that appreciative of the visitors, but I think when it comes to an environmental impact model that we should be sticking to as a society rather than just town by town, I think it's great that the surfers threw in their support, even if they're not necessarily going to be welcome down there next weekend for a surf. And I think it's the mindset thing. Anyway, from obviously talking about, that makes a nice little segue for us, Matty. Thanks for that, because recently made into a World Surfing Reserve, Noosa Headlands, that beautiful stretch of coast on the Sunshine Coast of Queensland, sort of halfway up the Queensland coast. The perfect long point break right-handers, the mystical walk around a tea tree. What an amazing place. And for its 30th anniversary, World Surfaris has managed to get the Noosa Festival of Surfing up and running, and they've cracked their 300 competitors, which is amazing considering this year's logistical nightmares I'm sure they must have gone through. To tell us all about it, and for some reason he's brought along some supermodel with him as well. Welcome to Oz Longboarding for the first time. The big boss man from World Surfaris, Mr. John Finlay, and well, the bloke next to him needs no introduction, so I won't give him one. Hey guys.
Oh, come on.
The Godfather.
No, I've got it. You can't have the Godfather of Soul. Mr. Ray Gleave, ladies and gentlemen, joins us as well to talk us through this year's Noosa Festival of Surfing. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Weeksy. It's very kind.
Thanks, mate.
Delighted to have Ray here. As I think most people know, Ray won the inaugural event in 1992 at Noosa, when I think it was called the Pepsi Surf Challenge, wasn't it, Ray, or something like that?
Oh, Pepsi Noosa Malibu Classic, I think it was.
Like
yeah.
So we're absolutely delighted to have, the grandfather of Kingscliff and the soul surfer gentleman, Ray Gleave, to be our ambassador this year.
I'm a grandfather.
Yeah,
You are.
I've got two grandfathers.
Hey, we're both grandfathers. Grandfathers can call each other grandfathers.
Grandfathers, that's all right.
It's a subtle difference, John, but Godfather, grandfather.
Hey.
It's much the same, Weeksy, when you're controlling grandkids. So look, we're I don't know whether we're delighted, gobsmacked, amazed. We look like we're actually going to get the 30th anniversary of the Noosa Festival of Surfing to the line. I mean, as you're aware, it's in May instead of its normal very late February, early March timing. That's obviously because of COVID. But the Noosa community seems to be delighted with the timing of mid-May. We've had great support. Our Josh Allen has done an extraordinary job in pulling it all together. We've got some new innovative stuff. We don't have the WSL, which I think, am I allowed to say this? It's a bit of a blessing, but love their cotton socks. They bring something to it, but fortunately not this year. And so it's going to be a quite extraordinary festival, returning more to its roots. We do have a few international competitors. I was looking through the list, and there are people who are claiming Philippines, Barbados, America, France, and some other countries as their nationality. But obviously the bulk of it is Australian domiciled, interstate as well as local. But because the WSL aren't there this year, we've been able to return to more the grassroots events. So, for example, we've got the Family Challenge, which is an event we haven't had for years and years and years. We've got the Teams event. We've introduced a new twin fin demonstration thing. So it's probably going to be a bit more of a relaxed schedule, allowing for a bit of wriggle time rather if we have to move location, rather than just go, 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 go. And we've got things like, non-surfing wise, a skate park, skate ramp sponsored by Vans, which we're pretty chuffed about. So yeah, all in all, Weeksy, we're pretty pumped.
John, answer the question that everyone wants the answer to, mate. The dog surfing.
Oh, well, needless to say, they are front and centre, 2 p.m, Saturday, 15 May. It's absolutely there. Yep, they're there. Saturday's the first day. We'll have the official opening after the dog surfing and the paddle out, which Ray is going to lead. I'm not sure, right, because Ray and I haven't talked about it, what he might say, but just on a mildly somber note, we may give a minute's silence to the late departed Justice Nicholas Kirwan from PNG, who founded the Tapira Surf Camp and passed away from COVID complications in mid-April, which was a pretty sad day, because the SAPNG, which he was part of, and they have the best surf sustainability management plan on the planet up there, and we'll miss Justice Nicholas enormously. He was barely 66, was he?
That's horrible. We've actually lost a couple of big notable names on both sides of the country here in Australia in the last week as well. It seems obviously as we grow older in the surfing family, the roots get deeper. I guess it's a more regular thing we're going to come across, but certainly commiserations. And I think the PNG model has a lot to be spoken for. I'd love to see something similar implemented in places like Samoa that don't have they haven't been overrun with surfers like Bali has. And I think what they've done in PNG's deserves full credit. Now, Sneakley's, sorry, go on, yep.
Sorry, which it does really, because essentially Justice Nicholas in about 2008 transformed Tapira from being formerly a tree logging environmental disaster into a surf tourism destination, long-term sustainability business model. So, all credit to him and the SAPNG.
No, and it's always a hard one to verbalise that people leave behind footprints, and that's a fantastic legacy within the surfing world and the environmental side of things. And of course, it does dovetail nicely, because I think even to a certain extent some of these smaller nations are setting the example. And I guess when people like Australia have to go to their government to say, let's protect a coastal environment, I think it actually gives a bit more power to be able to point and go, look, these guys have done it, and you can really make a difference. And again, all respect, and very sad news to hear, but thanks for the mention. But so Ray, of course, you mentioned that quite some time ago on the inaugural event, you wouldn't believe that he was still were you an over 30 for that first one, Ray?
Yeah, well, I must have been, because 30 years ago, 62 now, 32, yeah, maybe.
So you weren't in the juniors, but I believe you're thinking of re-entering the 30s again this year, or the 35s.
Yeah, I thought it was right, like when I was up at Agnes a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, and we surfed in the Logger Pro, a young guy that I don't think he really knew me that well, and he got in touch with another guy, because I beat him twice, it was just this young guy, and he rang this guy at the Sunny Coast, said, there's this old guy, I can't beat him, what do I do, so anyhow, but that was on the beachy. So, and I said to this young guy, I said, oh, don't worry, mate, it'll all change once we get to the point. And it went to the point, and it did change. He done me up good and proper. But yeah, but you know what, I just feel that I'm not going to say I'm going to go out there and win it. I just feel because it's the 30 year, I've got to go in it, and I'm fit enough. I'm still surfing good, so if the waves are kind to me, so you never know what might happen, But I'm not, I surf for myself, mate, and I don't surf for judges. I surf for myself. If I can surf 100%, I'm happy. So
mate, I should never have shown you that footage from Agnes where you could see the bottom of your board flashing around faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
But Weeksy, I think what Ray's just said really sums up the spirit that's at Noosa. I mean, yes, it is a longboard competition, but really the spirit of the celebration of the joy of surfing, the culture, is vastly more important than who comes first or third. So, I'm just absolutely delighted to hear about the Kira incident that you mentioned with, was it Emily, did you say, went and rescued?
Emily.
Burley. Sorry, at Burley.
Mm.
I mean, that's the way it should be, isn't it, really, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and those stories, and like the father-daughter comps, and the the tandem surf, the two people on a wave surfing and all that sort of stuff. To me, that's the exciting stuff. You know what the pros are going to do before they take off.
Yeah.
But Ray, I'd actually like to see you go in the pro division as well and give them a shake up. But
no, you know what? Like, you know what? I think I think just paddling out, I probably intimidate the younger guys, because they know, a lot of them know where I've been and what I've done, and they still know I can paddle just as fast as them. But
I'm intimidated by your nice hair,
mate.
Yeah,
hey,
thanks
mate,
to the Kingy sweep.
Mate, I live at Kingston. I'm the best paddler ever. But anyhow, so just getting back to where that another girl saved the other lady at Burley the other day.
Yeah.
I done the same thing in 1992 in France. We're in the final in the world amateur titles. The Frenchman broke his leg rope, and it was wild conditions. I spent 10 minutes with him hanging onto my board, and his name was Michel. And it's one of my sons is named Mitchell, which over in France it's Michel. Anyhow, so like a decent person would help another human being if someone's in trouble in the ocean, so
Absolutely.
and that just brought back memories when Sean said that lady saved that other lady. I'm going, wow, I've done that in the world title and wasted 10 minutes, and I got beaten there by 0.5. I got second in 19.
Ray, never ever rescue someone until you have 2 excellent scores locked in. We've spoken about that.
Okay.
That's so not right.
No, actually, I've seen it quite a few times in longboard surfing. I've seen, especially here in WA, obviously we get people breaking leg ropes and things all the time. And in competitions, it's quite normal to see, more so the girls, I've got to be honest. It's but you see guys paddle out of their way to catch the board as it goes past, rather than that person having to go for a 15-minute swim. But he snuck it on in. So while I was admiring Ray's hair, that's what I get. That's what puts me off.
Yeah, you know what? You know why I got a haircut the other day, so I've got 2 weeks for it to grow. They always say it's only a week between a bad haircut, so yeah.
He's very dapper. Weeksy, I'll tell you this, I'm sitting next to him. He's very dapper.
Oh,
and you know what? John's feeding me full strength beer, which I don't drink.
Uh-oh. He's normally
ask me a question,
guy.
I could answer anything.
This could get messy. Get out a bottle of red. But John's
I've already got that, Weeksy.
John's got the red.
Must be in the name. Johnny Brazen did the same thing. But someone who's not intimidated by your hair has just joined us from Victoria, and as a nice little segue, also works at Urban Surf in Melbourne. Welcome to the show with all his hair, Nathan Riverland. How are you, bud?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Weeksy.
One day he's going to get that cut. I know. Just that hair. Heaps longer than that.
No,
Didn't I, Jody? I had long hair.
Nathan,
Yeah, you did. You had the mullet.
Yeah.
run your hands through it, Nathan. Remind him how it used to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Look
at it.
Look at it. Got a bit mullet. It's getting a bit long, but pleasure to be here and great to have John and Ray and Jodes on. Ray's not looking a day over 25 still, so bastards.
Hey, Nathan, are you going to Noosa?
Yeah, that's my question.
I don't think, I'm not coming up.
Oh, man, I want to paddle a contest against you. I want to paddle that way.
Someone from Urban Surf's coming up, Nathan. Do you know who? Is it Milesy?
Jeepers, I'm not exactly sure. Who'd you say it was? Milesy?
Yeah, James Miles.
Is he coming up?
No, I don't know who's coming up. Someone from Urban Surf's coming up. You guys are a sponsor of the thing, for goodness sake.
We are. I didn't know
You
James
are.
was coming up. I did not know James was coming up. There you go.
Well, I'd like to surf
he
down
might-
there, so maybe I might win something.
So now, Nathan, do you have a wave setting at Urban Surf Melbourne, my bucket list surf destination? Do you have a setting there that might be good for training for somewhere like Noosa, along right-hand point break?
The cruiser session's like not too bad. That's sort of like mimics a point break longboard wave. It's pretty small. It's probably like only a foot, but pretty fun. Like you could definitely mimic the points at Noosa with that.
But I saw Josh Constable getting stand-up barrels last week, mate. You got one of them?
On a shortboard, yes, not on a longboard.
I reckon Matty Cook's going to get up there and blow some minds. Shark Island has rocky, sharp bits at the bottom of it. But So Ray, have you ever been? You haven't been in a wave pool, have you? I think we asked you this
No,
last
no,
year.
no. I'm sort of, I keep seeing them on Instagram and that, like people put them up, and yeah, I'd like to have a go. Yeah, for
So
sure. Somewhere.
I don't know if John's mentioned it to you, but World Surfaris do packages, so you can duck across to Melbourne for the weekend, and you've got your hotel, and you can look out the window of the hotel and pretty much see the pool.
Really? Wow.
I'd
my best
write
mate. John's my best mate at the moment.
Endorsements, but
Yeah.
so I was actually trying to convince John that I should make a.
But as long as it's in summer, I don't like the cold.
I was going to ask you, Nathan, what's the water temperature like over summer down there?
Yeah, you got heated water?
It's not heated, but
Oh, you're joking.
in summer it probably got up to 22, 23, but it's so it's so weather dependent. So like at the moment we've had so much rain and it's been cold, it's down to like 12 degrees, which is
what?
ridiculous.
Hey, we're getting older, mate. You're like,
Mate, 12 is a shoe size, not a degree of temperature.
I know. Well, last year we opened during COVID, we opened for 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks in June, July, it was 8.9 or something in the water.
What?
You're just
What?
stupid.
You still got to wear a wetsuit. I don't want to wear a wetsuit.
Yeah, well, I think anywhere you go.
Anyhow, we might start a rumour. We're opening one at Kingston, so
Well, don't be surprised.
beside the hospital.
Yeah, there is somebody who has some land put aside.
Yeah, I know someone. I think you know who I know, Sean.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Controversy. So
It might
here's
have a bit of red dirt, but hey.
It looks like the Yeppoon wave pool is getting the go ahead to actually expand and become public rather than just being a
It's
test
really,
bed as well.
yeah.
It's all very exciting. But John, I don't know-
Weeksy, I'll just jump in here. As someone who had had the very great privilege of surfing both the Melbourne wave pool and the Yeppoon wave pool, the wave pools are fantastic. It doesn't actually matter which technology and what have you. It's not the ocean experience, what have you, but they are great. Both of them are great, and people should take the time to go down and experience. It's different. It's really different to what you expect.
But you know what I feel? Sorry, mate, I'm butting in here. I feel to make it feel like a real surfing experience, you got to put sharks in there.
Oh no!
Haven't you
Because
heard the rumor?
we've got so many sharks up here at the moment. I'm becoming a shark whisperer.
Haven't you?
I'm training to be a shark.
Haven't you heard the rumor?
Yeah.
We put sharks under the machine. If anyone's naughty, we release them. That's how it
Oh,
works.
good. Okay. I'll feel at home then. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Weeksy, I'll just clarify my colleague's comment there in that the last time I read the stats, you have a 1 in 3.75 million chance of actually being attacked by a shark, let alone eaten, and you have a 1 in 63 chance of catching the flu. So let's just put it in perspective.
Yep.
You know what? There's no flu anymore, John. It's
Yeah.
called,
There is.
no. It's called COVID now.
Yeah,
The flu is called COVID.
flu and pneumonia have disappeared in the last 12 months. But the good thing about the wave pool is, of course, that everyone gets to share. And
I think
Ray,
it's great.
we had Pauline Mensah in the other day. She hired the place out for her 50th birthday.
Yeah.
Really?
She was saying that even with her former pro tour friends and a few good surfing buddies and things, as soon as the lifeguards weren't looking, they're all trying to leapfrog and jump the line.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the wave pool, you know where to take off, just a metre inside the concrete wall, and there you go.
Yeah.
So what I like about it, you can do it at night time. That's what I like. That's great.
That'd be cool. We've been pushing for
Nighttime,
quite
cool.
some time now, John, to do a Oz longboard competition at Urban Surf. We mention it every week on the podcast. So they've had about $27,000 worth of free advertising so far.
Maybe in the works, Weeksy. It may be in the works. You never
Oh,
know.
tell me more. Tell me more.
No, can't
No,
tell
you won't.
Can't
So-
say any-
I was just maybe letting John get ahead of the curve because I thought World Surfaris would probably want to support that event.
Yeah.
But Oz longboarding event at the pool, put it in your diaries. But John, obviously, look, for those who don't know, World Surfaris, of course, is reliant on people traveling the world to go surfing. So,
Yeah.
John, your business model must have taken an absolute flogging in the last 12 months since I last saw you at Noosa when everything started going weird in March last year. What have you had to do to adapt and improvise and do things like the packages at the wave pool, which you were already doing, of course, before COVID kicked in? Is that taking on a bigger role?
Yeah, look, Weeksy, it's it's a fair call. Obviously, the overseas portion hit the brick wall, monumentally. Fortunately, we, in the previous years, diversified a little bit into event management, local stuff like the Noosa Festival of Surfing, and recently we acquired a majority interest in the Byron Bay Surf Festival, so we do that. The wave pool stuff, we've done some trips to the Barrier Reef, but being brutally frank, none of that comes close to the volume of the people we'd send to the Maldives or Indo. So, it's been tough, JobKeeper helped us keep some of the staff for a while, and, our bankers have been supportive, and I've obviously tipped some dough in, and we're still there and we will survive. But yeah, it's brutal, mate. I will go to the grave with the financial scars.
I was just smiling because Ray was doing a bit of product placement in the background while you were talking with the stubby holder. So I wasn't laughing at the troubles you've been having. But look,
full strength beer is feeding me.
To be totally honest with you, when everything happened, I thought there was absolutely no way in the world that you guys were going to be sponsoring surf events this year. So to not only be doing it, but also to be putting it on such a grand scale, replacing a few of the missing elements with some fresh old elements, let's say, some bringing back some of the traditional. That's absolutely fantastic. But so how's it looking as far as, are you all fully subscribed and locked in? The only question I keep getting from all my friends up in the Sunshine Coast is, why aren't you coming up to do the commentating, Weeksy? So I don't know if you want to address that, but how's the entries going?
You'll be in lockdown, mate. You'll be in lockdown probably.
I'll take that on board on the way it was. First and foremost, it is a credit to the tenacity and persistence and resilience of my team, particularly the management team of Josh, Steve and JP. They're working second jobs. They're doing the stuff, in their own time and keeping it all together. So, yeah, it's been amazingly tough, but, we didn't catch COVID and didn't pass away like Justice Nicholas. So, everything's relative type of thing. So, yeah, look, we're delighted with that. The license of the WSL not being there let us create a few other things. And it's all come together with a rush. We're in excess of 350 competitors. There are a few spots, I think, in most events. We're not totally full on every single one, but we're very close to it. Really encourage people. I mean, the family challenge, I think, is great. You only have to have a minimum of 16 years between you and your fellow participant. And if you can tell us in 12 words or less how you're related, then you get to compete in the family challenge, so long as there's that 16 years between them. We've still got a few spots for the teams.
The Gowers in that?
Yeah, most of the stuff.
Gowers.
Yeah, most of the stuff is good. And Weeksy, as well as I do, we'd love to have you over here commentating, but the risk, being brutally frank, the risk of border closure and you being stuck and not being able to get what have you, with the commitments we've got for the commentary, we had to pass on your great talents and use alternatives. But next year, Weeksy, we would hope that you would be with us.
I'm in a non-COVID state. Does that mean I've got a better chance?
Only if you get a haircut, Nathan.
I gave Nathan such a hard time when Victoria was in lockdown. It's only fair that he gets his shot now. But look, that's totally understandable. And like I say, John, the exact same thing happened with the Agnes Water Longboard Classic. I would have loved to have been there, but it would be ridiculous to be waiting around to the last day of the flight, wondering if your staff are going to be there or not. That's all.
And Weeksy, but to put the cards on the table, the decision we're going to have to make after it's over is whether we revert back to the late February, early March timing, or whether we stick with mid-May.
What's the surf like? Right, you guys have been up there a heap of times. What time of the year is the best surf in Noosa, as far as you're concerned, Jodes?
Noosa? Too many people.
No.
Best surf, right?
Best surf. Oh, sorry. When was the best surf?
I actually said Jodes, but like, you can answer.
No, you're looking at March, and yeah, it's.
I mean,
you look for the cyclones.
The unfortunate thing, Weeks, is 9 days of consecutive surf at first point is a big ask at the best of time. Doesn't matter when it is.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, last year, 2020, we didn't surf at the point once.
you look at this year, like this week, there's been waves there this week.
Yeah.
And it's only a week away, more or less.
I think that's what one thing you've got in your favour is the fact that the last couple of years have been down at the groins, down the beaches.
Yeah. But
Except
there's a lot
for
of sand.
The dogs
There's a
got
lot of sand there, mate, at the moment.
Well, no,
a lot of sand.
Weeksy, in 2019, we had Cyclone Omar a bit before, and it blew the beach away.
Yeah.
But we surfed every day for 5 days, pumped at first point, was dead set gorgeous. The beach bar was 4 meters wide because that's all we could fit in.
Yeah. And so,
Right, and that-
but like you're just not that perfect idyllic Noosa that, you know, I remember 6 or 8 years ago, I went for the first time and it was like, wow, this place does this all the time. I didn't really realize that I'd got there at a good time. We had like 4 to 6 foot waves for 10 days, either side of the contest as well as the comp. But what I'm getting at is the juxtaposition. If it had been a perfect Noosa points March last year, and then this year was substandard as such, you know what I mean? I think by comparison, you're pretty much going to end up having as good, if not better, surf than what you did last year. Is what.
Well, I think so. I mean, if we had have gone March this year, I reckon we would have stood a good chance of being rained upon for a fair portion. So it was really wet.
Yeah. And there's so much sand there at the moment. I've seen footage like a few weeks ago, and Josh Constable was saying that, you know, it's the most sand they've ever seen at first point, and it's breaking really wide. So I think if there's that much sand there, if there's only a little bit of swell, it's still going to break, you know.
And that's one of the advantages of not having the absolute up to the eyeball schedule with the WSL, is that maybe we'll only need to surf sort of mid to low tides, and the high tide we can have rest time or wheel time or what have you, and still get through the thing. So it should be. I'm sorry you won't be here, Weeksy, because it's going to be a pretty relaxed bloody festival, you know, like it's going to be fun.
To be honest with you, my most enjoyable competitions, especially as a commentator, have been the ones where it's not quite so corporate. So I know Surfing WA took over the Whalebone, for example, and it's a whole different kettle of fish. Peter Dunn running the Whalebone and Surfing Western Australia running the Whalebone. Surfing WA is a highly professional outfit, and they need to be. They run 50 competitions a year across all disciplines. And so they had to pull me in for a bit of a chat before the first time they took over. Hey, Weeksy, there's certain words you're not going to be able to use on the microphone anymore. And look, you know, it's all that sort of thing. I do like the club contest where you can have a bit of a joke and take the mickey out of the surfers and have an interaction with the viewer sort of thing, which I think would be a lot of fun. And I'm really totally understandable, but I'm a bit disappointed I'm not going to get there. But so long as I get there for the Urban Surf Oz Longboarding Classic, I'll be a happy man. Hey,
Nathan and I work on your invitation.
Thank you very much. I'm very good at waxing up surfboards. I'm going to be the wax sponsor. So, Matty Cook, have you been to Noosa recently, mate?
Yeah, I was up there early March. Got lucky. We had perfect weather, actually. So I surfed mostly over at Sunshine, but I had a few days at the point and had a good time. Actually saw Phil Jarrett out at Tea Tree, and yeah, it was beautiful.
What would you say to anyone who's never been there before, who's thinking about snapping up one of those spare spots in the competition, just for the opportunity to surf Noosa National Park with 3 other people in the water?
Right, this couldn't be anywhere better to surf a longboard. I think that's the most beautiful place that I can think of. It's just get there if you can, for sure.
Now, someone who I know has definitely been to Noosa a few times. He might even have a couple of dust collectors on his shelf with the word Noosa written on it, all the way down in Sydney. And he's just in time for his cameo appearance. Matty Chenowski, how are you, big fella? How's that ear going?
Yeah, good, guys. Actually had the ear. I've run Noosa 3 times. Yeah, so it's been a good event for me over the years, but I've been going there for since 2001 was my first year. So, yeah, I've been going there 20 years this year, haven't missed one. And I started in the under 15s and then to the under 18s. And then there was nearly not going to be a pro division. And thankfully, back then it was Laguna Bay Longboards that sponsored it. And we had a pro division. Yeah, I've been going in it ever since. And some of the old Mal.
And you'll be up there this year? Are you going to compete against Ray Gleave?
I didn't know Ray was in it, but I'm in it this year. I wouldn't miss it. Yep. Yeah, I'm
Matty, Matty,
Oh,
it's
Ray, you're there. Good.
Yeah, how you going, dude?
I was
Hey.
trying to trip him up. I was trying to get him to say something before he knew you were there. Go on.
I've stayed with Ray for 2 years with the McTavish team house. But actually, Ray's inspiration for me at Noosa, watching him on his old mal and the way that he dissected first point. Ray was possibly, I think, the best longboarder to surf Noosa before the traditional longboards took, a proper resurgence out there and in the competitive realm. Ray had a really good mixture of like flow and power and nose rides. And when he came to surf in the teams event a few years ago, everyone was so stoked because it looked like this fine wine, just seeing someone carve and nose ride and surf it so fluidly. So yes, to have Ray back up there would be epic.
Jeez, Matty. Hey, Matty, will you marry me?
It's an option. It is an option these days. So
hey. Looks like fine wine, smells like blue cheese.
Matty just said all the right words. Hey, yeah. Thanks for those kind words, Matty. Yeah,
we got to have balance.
But I don't know if you know.
Balance. And maybe hang on. Our final panelist has made it in tonight. So I'll get her on the microphone because she's an actual expert on the area, all the way from the Sunshine Coast in Noosa itself. Congratulations on your second place at Burleigh and welcome to the show, Kira Molnar. How stoked are you for the 2021 Noosa Festival of Surfing?
Yeah, pretty stoked actually. Thanks for that, Weeksy. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect, mate.
Okay, sweet. I was having trouble with the Wi-Fi earlier, but it must be working. But hopefully we get a runaways to the festival like we've had this week, and hopefully into the weekend. It's been pretty fun out there.
And so, what's this? The guys are just saying there's a bit of sand there in the bay or on the beaches at the moment. So put a nice taper on things. Yeah,
lots of sand. First Point's looking is like super hollow. So there's some really good fast barrels coming through there. I've surfed it on the higher tide in the last couple of days and it's actually like super makeable still. So it's been really fun. I think if it's breaking, it'll be good.
On your longboard or the board?
The longboard.
Yeah, Nathan's trying to tell us that you can't get barreled on a longboard, but I'm not having any of it. We're just discussing the Urban Surf Challenge earlier.
I didn't say that. I just said I hadn't been barreled on.
Hey, Nath, actually, for the record, mate, I'm glad I'm not still down south. I was down yelling up in Margaret River last week. It was solid, but I did what you did for the Victorian swell the other week and got out of there just in time, so I didn't have to make excuses. But so, Kira, you were entering the event this year. What are you looking forward to the most, do you think, about this different time of the year? What are you expecting?
I don't know. I hope there's some swell. I'm looking forward to like just seeing everyone again, especially like not being able to travel. Like the recent events have just brought everyone together. So it's going to be really good just to have everyone and the whole community in one spot. And Noosa just has some great waves when it's on. So fingers crossed the swell's right. And then, of course, obviously, everyone's looking forward to the dogs as well.
Hey, Kira, how do you think the dogs are going to cope with little barrels across First Point?
I don't know. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get my puppy dog surfing beforehand, maybe.
Velcro.
You might have to put plugs in.
Yeah.
A Velcro patch at the front of your board, Kira. So
exactly. There could be some good dog wipeouts.
Hey, guys, I think the important question is a dog going to get barreled before Nathan does?
On a longboard.
Oh, controversy. Hey, and Matty Chenowski, are you alluding to the fact that Nathan still hasn't put in his big wave surfing video yet? Is that what's going on?
Mate, I just think they're very lucky with waves down south in Victoria, and I would just love to see the boys surfing some really good quality longboard waves. Even if it's 6 foot, it's 8 foot. It's really good for a longboard down there. And it's coming. I know the boys are cooking something up for us.
13th beach, you got to get barreled at 13th. Sewage surfers. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to share a screen now. This is first thing I'm going to show you here is regarding the art exhibition. So I had Owen Kavanagh share a bit of information or share some things with me. Can you see that there now? Is that on your screen?
Yep. Oh, yep.
Okay. So the surf art exhibition, but what he also sent me was the world premiere here, folks. This year's trophies.
Yep.
So he's in the process of making the that's the old Mal first place trophy right there, Matty Chenowski.
I can't see it.
Oh, are you guys
I
not
can
getting my
only
screen?
see a Zoom.
No, we've
I
got
can
it.
see it.
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
All,
see
all
it.
good, Weeksy.
Oh,
Oh,
good. Sorry
okay.
about that.
Yeah.
Matty, it's made. You can't have any alterations, no custom designs. You have to win the thing, mate, and that's yours.
Perfect. All right. Well, I'll trust you guys. For some reason, I can't see that. Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Yeah.
Okay, and that's as close as you're going to get to one.
What's with all the sledging today? So there's a couple of first place ones. We got third place. Yeah. So Owen Kavanagh, thanks heaps for that, mate. And it was really nice of him to drop some nice comments about the Oz Longboarding panel and how great a job you guys are all doing. So thanks for that, Owen. It is much appreciated. Sometimes I just feel like I'm sitting here talking to my laptop. It's always good to catch up with the surfing buddies each week. Kira, what's your best memory of the event? How important is it as a local kid to come and see the world's best rock up on your doorstep? And one thing you might have missed out on is we were discussing the fact of how important the environmental protection side of things is. And John made a point of saying that the family values of longboarding and how important that is in a deeper sense. And you were part of the event down at Burleigh where one of the competitors lost a board and was saved by another one. So can you put all that into a ball as far as the longboarding community, Noosa, big events, and how important the homely values of longboarding have been in your life as a grommet?
Yeah, I think firstly, to answer your first question, in terms of remembering like the best moments, I'm pretty sure one of the best moments I had was competing in the water. And I think there was 4 of us in the heat. It was like a end of a cyclone. So it was a few years back and it was Honolulu, Khalees, me and Tully. And it was like the funnest heat to this day that I've ever surfed. And like just first point, and it was just constant waves. Like I didn't even see any of the other girls. I saw them on a wave going past. It was just like so good to experience like how good that break is, especially like to yourselves and just sharing with fellow competitors. And like, yeah, the camaraderie was really awesome. The other thing I think surfing events really do is promote also like that area, and also Noosa's that World Surfing, part of the World Surfing Reserve now. So it's really good to promote that and the protection of the environment, etc. as well. I know a lot of surf comps and especially longboard comps, we always have the cleanup in the mornings and that sort of thing as well, which is really good to promote. Yeah, just keeping our environment clean and preserving the waves and respecting each other. But longboarding definitely has that sense of community, I find, sometimes more than shortboarding. And I think, yeah, I don't know how to go. That answer everything.
You've been around longboarders all your life and you turned out all right, kids. So I think it's a thumbs up for the beneficial.
Weeksy, can I just jump in there and say both Kira and Cho came down to the Byron Bay Surf Festival at the end of February, 2021, which was probably one of the first major surf comps put on in 2021. And the vibe there, it's not so much about the surfing, but as the camaraderie. We happened to have great weather and great waves. And I think that was really evident. I'm interested to hear what Matty and Kira say, but it was a really fun event.
Mm.
To be totally honest,
the Byron event was surreal in the fact that it was like all these elements that don't always go the right way in an event. So you had the sun, you had the waves, and you had everyone who was really stoked just to be there. And also a big breakthrough with that, aside from the fun, obviously when you're getting a lot of waves and you're happy to be there, but the competitive nature of the Aussie field was really strong as well. And it was something that a few of us had spoken about on this show before about what will happen with the COVID break and, international, travel being seized. Will other people step up, and will some juniors step up? And they did. There was a lot of sort of more unknown people that, like Kira and I were talking about it, I think at the event, we're just like, wow, the level of surfing's gone right up. And that was homegrown talent. And an event like Byron kind of reminded me of what Noosa used to be like for me. When I was a kid, the festival was the melting pot for longboarding. Pre-social media, you could learn a little bit about the magazines, what was going on, but even then, everything was a month or two delayed before you'd read about it. and Noosa always has been that melting pot to find out what's new, what's fresh, and to see who's surfing really well. And yeah, Byron definitely epitomized that, I think, just because it is such a friendly vibe.
The standard, Matty, was phenomenally high, and congrats to you that you actually took out one of the events, because it was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and it helps with, I mean, there was a lot of invitations that possibly would have gone. I helped Ambrose do some of the invites, and I was looking at the field just going, wow, this is going to be hot. And it was really cool. It was almost by default, I guess, that these people got the call up, but it was insane to see. So there was a lot of positives out of that Byron comp, and it's going to be slingshot straight into Noosa, because I reckon we're going to get waves, and the last previous May months have seen waves at Noosa. You're sort of sitting at home back in Sydney. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting good 10-foot points and beaches here, but Noosa's pumping as well.
And it's warm.
And it's warm, yeah. Bloody oath.
What about you, Kira?
Yeah, the Byron comp was unreal. Actually, even like the one wave that we all surfed together, and like the event itself and the surfing was unreal. And you're right, like the talent pool just within Australia is amazing. Like we have some of the best surfers in the world for sure. And it was so good to see it in that one spot. And then you've got all these kind of little different events and things happening around Byron Bay that just kind of piece it all together. And I think that's also what makes it a good sense of community as well, is it's not also just about the surfing, but it's about how can we, come together and make it fun for everyone as well. Even like people who weren't in the event, there was heaps of people down there watching and everything. So it was awesome.
And I guess that's a bit of a tough one, when they bring out a new movie with a cartoon character in it or something like that, trying to stay true to the original character to keep the existing fans happy. John Finlay, you have a fine line to tread. It sounds like you're taking steps in totally the right direction. I've got my 100% support and maybe not necessarily intentionally originally with WSL being removed out of it, but like you say, if it opens up the opportunity to bring back some of that grassroots stuff, which I think is, for me personally, that's the magic of longboarding. That's what makes it.
Yeah, I think, Weeksy, that's what the term festival means, not just surfing competition. And we've been very pleased with the relationship we've been able to strike up with the Hastings Street Traders Association at Noosa. Because, let's face it, everyone tries to protect their own interests, but they've really worked with us this year to try and make sure that the festival spreads not just from the beach but down Hastings Street, so past the Sofitel where Owen's doing the surf art show, and down where we've got the Vans skate ramp with Chiggy. So it's a new element, but it helps tie the sort of street together from main beach down to the woods, and that was a little bit of what we learnt from Byron. Byron's very much about culture and the feeling, the vibe, not so much about the surfing competition. So I think there is some merit in being associated with both. Yeah,
absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, people want to see the cutting edge as well. And for the young Groms coming up, they want to see the best of the best. But I find it really interesting what Matty was saying about how by not having that upper echelon in there, it's actually allowed a few others to blossom. And I think that's worth noting and pondering on as well. So obviously, Noosa Festival of Surfing.com is the place to go for entries and all the information. I'm just flicking through here now, looking at the bits and pieces. Red Bull's on board again, which is fantastic. It looks like they're making a long-term commitment to the event, John.
Well, let's hope so.
Just put them under pressure on the show. Tell them, yes, that's what's happening. But and so obviously Surf Aid's involvement, the Noosa Heads Brewing as a sponsorship partner again, but you've also got opportunities for sponsors still available if people want to jump on board to support the event.
I'd have to say, being brutally frank, Weeksley, it's too late.
Okay.
It's locked in, basically.
No, that's great.
I mean, I don't know if people understand, but it is a logistics nightmare in terms of how much detail you have to go into with each and every one. I think I had a look at the non-surfing event list, and I don't think it's in excess of 30. Like there's a whole bucket load of stuff on. One of the things that we're very delighted to have Lane Beachley and Kirk attend this year. They'll be coming up, and Lane is going to chair a small little film session on the last Saturday night about surfing to survive, the film that Pauline Mensah helped champion of that lady Karen Oshner from Byron, who basically has these terrible, terrible allergies and almost can't breathe out on land. But when she gets in the ocean, she's free as a bird. And I think Pauline understood that a bit. So Karen's going to come up for that. It's out at the Noosa Surf Museum. It's just a little add-on thing, but there's a bit of detail there to do. So yeah, it's a massive undertaking, 9 days worth. The council have been great. All the businesses have been great. Everyone's pretty much on board. And the demand from people wanting to compete in the festival has also been fantastic. But there are still places available. So if you're having any doubts, get online, register, come up. You'll have a great time.
I tell you what, of all the places in the world where it's worth the entry fee to have your Rashi on and there's only 3 other people in the lineup with you, chuck your money down. I mean, even if you went 10 years in a row and only 1 year had great waves, that year would be worth the 10 years entry fees. If you haven't done it, do it. So
can I just say something, Weeksy, on that, it's like a paradise what you're surfing. You're surfing in the national park. Noosa is, and Byron was amazing as well, but First Point Noosa has to be one of the best places to surf at an event. It is just insane. Like, even just the free surfing and even up at the groins, just looking into the Laguna Bay, it is just phenomenal. Even so, I've actually got a family that I've befriended, a local family to Northern Beaches. They're a German family that have come over here. The father works over here and they've raised a bunch of kids, and they're not surfers, but they're surf fans. And they sat on the beach at the Byron Surf Fest. They came up from Narrabeen and they watched every single heat. And they're doing the same thing at Noosa, and they're coming up. They're bringing the whole clan. And I've only met them 6 months ago. The son does some surf photography and he's phenomenal. And he's like, oh, wow, this is like a dream. You get to go to Noosa and watch a world-class surfing event. And I thought it is exactly that and more. And as a competitor, just take my money. Like, it is that good. And I've got so many people from the Northern Beaches that I coach.
Matty, does that mean I can stick the entry fees up next year?
Yeah,
John. Yep. All right. I just shot myself in the foot there.
Johnny Brazen.
Johnny Brazen money might go up.
There's your headline for Pacific Longboarder next month, Johnny. Matt Chenowski said you should charge more for entry fees.
Way too cheap to enter the Noosa Festival.
Yeah, extra $50 per competitor goes to the prize money.
There you go.
So, John, you basically, Sean will tell you how it works, mate. If the waves are good, you're a genius. And you can do no wrong. If the waves don't turn up for you, then you're the biggest.
And just on the prize money, Matty, let me just point here: we're equal opportunity. The girls get the same prize money as the boys. How it could be any other way is totally beyond me.
Awesome, John.
Very topical, very topical. But so the same amount of entries in both categories, divisions across.
No, we would have slightly more male competitors across the board. Probably, 64, 65, 35. Yeah, we need a few more girls, Kira, especially the older girls.
Okay, I'm sure I could get Mum if you're listening. Can you please get in there?
I'm going to identify as a woman and put an entry in. Go on.
Hey, I tell you what,
you're looking good, Sean.
For those of you who are paying attention to the West Australian longboarding world, that might not be too far off.
Can I just say one thing, that 30 years ago, they couldn't fill a juniors heat. They couldn't fill a women's heat. Now it's all juniors and all women. Now we're trying to find guys that are over ages, like 40s, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
So, you know what, like longboarding now is just amazing. Like, I go down to the factory to Byron and, to see the guys and pick a board up and that. And there's all these young people working in there. There's young people coming in and I'm thinking, and I feel like a grandpa. Well, I'm a grandpa.
That's reality, right?
When I walk in there, I'm going, God, I feel so old. All these young people now, in longboarding, where Noosa, well, it wasn't the surf festival. It was the, Malibu Classic years ago. It's just amazing how it's changed over the years. Like even in Kingstonfield, we've got so many ladies surfing now and young guys on longboards. Like It's amazing.
And
Well, you
Weeksy, I think it was Tommy Wegner commentating on 2019 that possibly the most graceful surfing we saw that year, and we had Cyclone Omar to thank for pumping waves, was in the under 15 girls. They
Hey,
were
look,
just
and
majestic.
I'm a big believer in this whole belief factor. I always bring it back to the quarter mile. The minute mile. No one could run a mile in under a minute, right? And then one person did, then all of a sudden everyone can do it. I'm sure Kira can probably do it, right?
No, nobody can run the mile in under a minute. You mean 4 minutes?
Oh,
Isn't that 3 minute mile?
Well, 4 minute mile technicalities. I don't know. I don't run. But the point being is, once one person breaks through, then the belief factor comes, and then the next generation. It's like kids doing aerials. You know, Martin Potter did one. Everyone went, "Wow!" Christian Fletcher, and now every 10-year-old kid down the back beach can do a chop hop 360. You know, and so I think that's what we're seeing with the women now is that the age group slightly above Kira is kind of the full age group, where we've spoken to a few of the older generations, sort of your age, Ray, of the female surfers, and they were a rarity.
32.
32, that's right, second time round. And so, but they were a rarity, the very small minority. Whereas once Kira's age group gets through to that over 50s, over 60s range, then they've grown up where it's just normal for there to be just as many girls as guys in the water. And I think that's the transformation we're seeing. And I'm all for it. I reckon it's great. I do prefer to watch a woman surf a longboard, particularly the good ones like Kira and getting barrel as well. But and this is where I reckon where we may even be pretty close to an event where the gender falls away and it just becomes longboard surfing. In much the same way, Ray, as you can compete with the over 30s again now because they've the criteria has come back.
You know what? Well, funny you should say that. Well, I think I'm competing in under 20s or something like that. I don't know. Like 30 years, winning it 30 years ago was, I was doing a lot of winning then back, you know what I mean? So it's sort of like now I'm enjoying my surfing. So if I go, the thing is I've got to go in the one I won 30 years ago, just for the simple reason.
Yep.
It's
a matter of principle.
It's a matter of principle. I'm going in it. I'll probably get my ass kicked, but I mean, but I think I'm going to have a lot of young guys intimidated, thinking, hang on, this old guy can surf. I better watch him. Isn't that right, Matt?
This is like the second.
Yeah.
Are you listening?
But Ray, I've watched so many. I've watched every single movie that you've ever been in, so I know all your cards.
Matty,
I tell you, Matty. Hey, Matt, you can win, and I'll come second.
I mean, just to surf a heap with you, Ray, it'd be so awesome.
I feel like we need to make this happen.
Noosa, honestly, and I've said this a lot on this show, and that's why I'm a member of this show, but longboarding is one of the few things in the world where a 16-year-old and a 66-year-old can share equal passion with equal respect and out of the water.
And that's right.
And Noosa,
more so now, Matty, I think. More so now because there's so many young guys and young girls in longboarding, and I must admit, I get along with the younger guys and girls better than my guys my age, is for the simple reason that, it keeps me younger, surfing against younger people. So, if you want to surf in over 60s, over 50s, over 40s, man, it's dog eat dog, man. They want to win. They want to kill you,
If there's going to be
with the young guys, it's more, let's go,
If there's going to be an interference sort of like, in the surf comp, it'll be the 60s.
Yeah.
I have never seen more interferences than the over 65 division. I'm pretty sure there was like 3 interferences, 1 heat 1 year.
Yeah.
I think I had an interference one year. Yeah,
that's normal club comp state round.
Yeah, we had to call security last year. We had to call Sean. Big Shawnee came over when the over 60, I think it was the over 65s. Not quite, Sean, but it was close. You were there. You were commentating too, Weeksy. There was a bit of controversy going on. I think those guys are probably watching the show right now.
Yeah.
They'll be wearing it as a badge. One of them's a Cronulla Sharks fan, wearing it as a badge of honour. No, but yeah, and the women far out. I was commentating for the WSL and then afterwards for the festival, and someone said, you've got to stop calling them girls. And I said, newsflash, every single person in this open women's heat is under 15 or under
Yeah.
16. They are girls. And the surfing was that good. It was incredible. And
it's
I can't wait. Festival's gonna be awesome.
I think really last year's result with Cleese Kellyapata taken out first, and so you've got two teenagers, first and second in the world. I mean, obviously coming out of that one event, but I think certainly the women's event is where the massive shift has happened over the last couple of years. I'm really excited to see how it goes. Now, because we don't want to have anyone on at the end of the show who's got more hair than you, Ray, we better let Nath say goodbye, because I know he's got to disappear.
Yeah, I'm gonna head off, guys. I've just got a bit of work to do tonight. So yeah, thanks for having me on. And yeah,
you know what?
Great to chat to you.
No, you got to turn that into a mullet.
Brian, well, I used to have really long hair down my shoulders.
Yeah, mate, I could show you a photo of me with the mullet you wouldn't believe. Yeah. So,
John Farnham was jealous of your mullet, right?
Can we post that? Can you send it through?
Yes.
And Nathan, see if you can find out who's meant to be coming up from Urban Surf, and if they're not organised, steal their gig.
Yeah, well, mate. I would have loved to have come up, but yeah, hopefully next year.
Nathan's a pretty mean commentator as well, John.
It's probably too warm for Nathan up here.
There you go.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Nathan.
See you,
Nathan. Could I ask Jody? Could I ask Jody? Jody, are you coming up?
No, unfortunately, I can't. I've sort of stepped back like a bit from competing, so yeah, I mean, I'd love to go up just to even, to see it all happen, because I mean, it's been, I think the last time I was up at Noosa was 2011, I think. So
okay.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Jody,
hang on, before we go too far past that, Jody, speaking about dubious hairstyles, I seem to have some hazy recollections of some photos of you I've got at Noosa where you looked a bit like Mr. T. What was going on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that year, like I got raked in to do it was the world's greatest shave. So I participated in it, and at the time, like, I wasn't sure whether it was going to happen. I sort of tried to set the bar high for the fundraising, so to actually get out of it, but it's people obviously had dug into their pockets, and obviously, like, it's a good cause, and ended up doing it for the cause. And I mean, like, Dad wasn't too happy about it when he seen it, so he sort of disowned me and that for a bit. I actually enjoyed it, because, like, it was just to be able to be free, like, and have like nothing to worry.
Jody, we should talk off air about getting you to the festival in 2022.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I'd love to come back for sure, John. I definitely would.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Some accommodation for you here.
Thanks, Kira.
And I think, Ray, you've now been put under pressure. Jody had it, just for those. I'll probably try and find the photo. I'll put it on our Facebook page.
I know. Yeah, I know it.
Jody had a mohawk, about this wide, straight down the middle of her head, and I think she's set the bar. And if you care about the children, you'll do the same thing this year, Ray.
Actually,
yes.
Wayne Dean actually turned up one year too with a mohawk.
He did,
yeah. He turned up with a mohawk too, so maybe I might. Well, it's a little bit short at the moment.
Right.
Honestly, Ray, you'll be the coolest grandpa ever.
Oh, thanks, Jody.
There's two things I know.
I'm going to divorce Matty now. I'm going to marry you now.
There's two things I know for certain, Ray. First is you won't mess with your hair. The second thing is that you go on about this, oh, yeah, I'm just doing it for the memories. Keep an eye on that man when he paddles out for his heat, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's that, me?
You'll watch that head down. They'll be paddling. He'll be selling the dummies. He'll be selling the crappy waves to the young blokes. He'll be messing with their head.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to try my hardest. Don't worry about that. I'm going to be out there to surf the best I can, so. And
to be honest with you, mate, having shared a couple of surfs with you at Agnes most recently last year, geez, that's over a year ago now. It's crazy, isn't it? My money's on you, mate. I reckon. No, I'm 100% hand on heart. You and Mark McNamara are my two favourite longboard surfers, and I used to love Macca's drop knee turn, and he always was the first to go on his front foot and say, that's the Ray Gleave turn. He watched you and copied your drop knee turn, and just watching the way you can throw around those single fins, mate. My $10 is on Ray Gleave for the shock upset. Dude, 30 years apart. Even Kelly hasn't done that.
As long as no one keeps feeding me full strength beer, I'll be right.
So Matty Cook always is very polite and he's quiet in the background. Matty, have you got any wrapping up sort of comments or questions for the boys while we've got them here?
No, yeah, it's just great to hear from everyone. I've only been to the Noosa Festival once, and I'm just thinking back to it. I actually had such a great time there. I went to all the other festival parts of it and met a beautiful girl there. I don't know if she's still knocking around their page.
Oh, wow. Oh, here we go. This could take half an hour.
Sound like you need to come back
20
again,
years
Matty.
ago. But,
Yeah, she's married to my mate, Matty.
what?
She's married to my mate.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I missed my heat. So that was my only trip to the Noosa Festival. But, yeah, it's fantastic time. Definitely get there if you can.
I think so.
I'm just ducking off for a second. Someone else talk. I've got a funny Noosa story, and the evidence is right outside the front door. So now, Kira, what's your best result that you've had there, as far as competitively speaking?
I think like the semis in the pro logger. But I think the best thing about the festival was it actually got me longboarding, because I was a bit of a shortboarder, like grew up in that time and started surfing when I was like 6. And then the only time that I would get a longboard out was when the festival came to town. And so I'd be like, when I was younger, one of those kooks who'd like surf the longboard like a shortboard. And then I went from that and it just slowly evolved. And it was like, that was the beginning of like my longboarding was, okay, the festival's on next year. I got to ride a longboard and I've got to try harder. And then I think that just grew from there. So I think the festival and like living in Noosa, it's actually such a big part of the town. It's like part of Noosa, basically. Everyone comes every year for the Noosa Festival of Surfing. And yeah, I love it. Such a good culture.
Noosa does generate a lot of fantastic world-class surfers, and obviously the waves there are perfect for honing your craft and perfecting your equipment. But I just wanted to tell a little quick story, because the events that go along with the contest that turn it into a festival are the highlights in my mind, apart from some special moments with certain pro surfers getting triple barrels on a layer through the contest zone at First Point there. But this one was great because I had a little kid standing next to me, and I'd just been talking to Josh Constable, and I was still kind of in awe of him because I was pretty new to the longboarding world. This is actually 2011 when Barsby had her Mohawk, I think. And they were doing a raffle and one of these giveaways at the band night sort of thing. Actually, John, I had a good memory from last year from going to the raffle as well. I should mention that. But I was seeing this little kid and I said, I'm going to win one of those Eskies. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to win one in a minute. And he goes, and each time they called out a name, they had these little ones and they got bigger and bigger. I said, no, I'm going to win the second biggest one. And then they'd turn around, Jason Weeks. And there we go.
Nice.
So, I managed to pass on the belief in, the power of positive visualization. And then, of course, at Noosa last year, I went to the black and white, the fundraising night and
The charity dinner.
And thanks to John, he gave me the free ticket, which was lovely. And then my lovely girlfriend, who was there at the time, decided to, I talked her into buying me a raffle ticket, and I won a brand new surfboard. So if you go to the Noosa Festival, buy tickets and everything, and think positively.
Hey, Weeksy, one of the years I won in 2016, it was great. It was a good year for prize money, and it was very good waves the whole way through. So to get to the finals, epic, and you're like, oh, awesome, get to make some prize money, and to win is even better. You're just on a high, and I shouted everyone burgers across the road. There's about, 20 people there and a few beers and stuff. And then someone's like, you won. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, that's really, thanks. And they're like, no, you won the trip. You won the trip to Papua New Guinea. And I was like, what? They calling your name out. So I was on Hastings Street and I jumped out of the restaurant and I ran through the surf club and I jumped over the barrier at the at the Surf City there at the 4X bar, did a big cartwheel in, and they just awarded it to someone else, like a recall.
Oh no!
Oh, I was going to say it was everyone going redraw.
Yeah,
Matty, you know who got that trip instead of you?
Who?
Peppy Simpson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She was the 9th name we called.
Wow.
So I had a bit
I
of
was
time
there.
and I was doing cartwheels, but anyway, I was on a good high that year. So
There's another tip for young players: always be there for the competitors' draw, because your fellow
Weeksy,
competitors.
Weeksy, that was a trip to Tapira in PNG.
Unreal. Hey, see the circle that's formed here?
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Everything ties back together. And this is what I love about our sport, is that intergenerational nature, as Matty alluded to before. Grandparents and grandkids surfing together and enjoying the same vibe. And something like the festival really keeps that spirit alive that separates us from those shortboarders and all their aggression and ego and stuff. So here's me with my daily riders in the background. I like ride them all. But look, it's been fantastic having you on, John, and great to see you with a spring in your step and a smile on your face. And it sounds like the Noosa Festival is in good hands.
Thank you, Weeksy.
Ray Gleave, not so much in good hands, getting forced to drink full strength beer, but good to see you, Ray. And look, seriously, mate, give him a nudge up there. I'm going to put us in.
And also, can I say, and at the fundraising night, I've got one of my older boards that I've been riding for years and years. It's a Godfather model up for grabs for auction. So,
that's the board meeting charity dinner on Friday, the 21st of May.
So does that still have the old wax on it? So it's got some of your DNA in there?
No, I've taken the wax off, actually.
Oh, that's the most valuable bit.
The only thing, I lent it to my son one of my sons one day, and he brought it back with little dents in the bottom. But I mean, you can see it's been ridden. So it's got flames on it. So it should bring good money.
So that's the black and white charity night?
Yep.
Okay.
Lane and Ray will be informally interviewed by JC, and it's the Sunshine Beach Surf Lifesaving Club. So there's still some tickets available for that, Sean.
Oh, is it Johnny Charlton's nicked my gig, is it? I knew it. Bloody
still
Johnny.
He's a
I want to go see his new farm out the back of Noosa. We're on Brady Bunch, my guys. We're all on the screen at the same time, so no picking of noses and things. But Shawnee McEwen, who have we got coming up for us next week, mate?
Well, just before I tell you who's coming up next week, another charity that's happening is one of our former guests, Wiggy Dick Smith. He's doing a shave for some charity. So we'll put the details of that up on the Facebook page.
He's dyeing the wig pink.
To raise $3,000 to get rid of those beautiful golden locks.
And he's got a lot of hair, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sorry to say
has he committed to
shaving
shaving
it to you, Sean?
I thought he's just going to dye it pink.
No, he's going to shave it, I believe. And if he gets enough money, the beard will come off, but that'll be a lot more money for the beard to come off.
Oh, okay. So it's the hair and then the beard.
Oh, the beard will stay.
He wants to raise about $3,000 for charity and that.
Does need a trim, Jodes.
So that's coming up.
Broadcast live from Noosa, hey, Sean?
Yes.
Sorry?
In 2 weeks, Kira, Weeksy, myself, and Ray, we can broadcast live.
Yeah, no, it'd be unreal. What else we were coming up? Just remember, everybody out there, you can always catch these shows if you want to watch them on YouTube or listen to them on all the good podcast platforms. While you're driving up to Noosa, you can listen to a few of your favourite shows. So they're all there. Next week, we're going to have one Mr. Dane Pioli.
Oh, great.
Wait.
I love that. Get him to sing, Sean. Get him to sing on the show.
Oh, no,
Actually,
yes.
No, yes, we need to get him to sing.
No, you've got to get him to sing. I like it.
Yeah.
And freestyle, please.
I can actually sing better than him, but get him to
Tell us the
sing.
story, Jody.
Hang on, Jodes, you're going to have a story about Pioli.
Oh, of course. Like we always do duets at the surf club with when the karaoke and that was on. That was
Okay, next week, Jody. I'll be watching.
Friday night karaoke.
Yes.
No,
This is going to be Tuesday night karaoke.
You want to see something good?
Usually Tuesdays, yeah.
You want to see something special? Get Jack Entwistle on the DJ decks and Pioli on the microphone.
Wow.
Next level. They took over.
You're talking about the whalebone.
Yeah, they took over the stage at the Melbourne a couple of years ago. I may have helped inspire them before ducking off, before it got too messy. But look, I'm super excited that the event's up and running. A little bit disappointed I'm not going to be there. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're going to. John, don't forget to get Barsby up for next year, mate, because Jodie Barsby and Noosa
And yourself,
National
Weeksy.
Park, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. So, but it's been a lot of fun. Great chatting with you, mate. And thanks again, Ray Gleave. And looking forward to catching up with Dame Pioli next week. And once again, there's the circle turns and the connections within connections of our fantastic sport.
Thanks
Any
for the
final words for
invitation,
the viewers?
Weeksy.
Yep, no worries at all, mate. Absolute
Thanks, mate.
pleasure. And don't forget to book me in to make the road trip video for Tullamarine Urban Surf Wave Pool. But
Okay. Thanks.
on behalf of the whole panel, say goodbye to your mums. We'll see you all next week at the same time with, former Australian Open Longboard champion Dame Pioli. We can talk about whether he's still doing helicopters. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Oz Longboarding.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I never talk